An ongoing controversy over Democratic Congresswoman Ilhan Omar's comments about AIPAC, the American-Israel Public Affairs Committee. Now, Representative Omar made a statement that alluded to AIPAC paying off politicians, which some are saying is anti-Semitic. Now, the fallout is garnering harsh words from both sides of the aisle. Joining us now to discuss all of this, Sam Husseini. He's a communications director for the Institute for Public Accuracy. Sam, thanks for being with us this afternoon.
Great to be with you.
So first, is what the Congresswoman said patently false, given that AIPAC is a lobby group, aren't they?
AIPAC is a very influential lobby group and is responsible and feared for a lot of the pro-Israeli sentiment on Capitol Hill, and is greatly feared on Capitol Hill.
So is what she's saying, is it wrong in some way?
It's certainly not wrong, and I think that the attack against her sort of proves the point that she might have been making, that it is incredibly powerful. I mean, for example, you recently had Al Jazeera create a documentary, an in-depth documentary about AIPAC, or about the Israeli lobby generally. And what happened, they put the squeeze on the Qatari regime, pro-Israeli forces did, and that got squashed and ended up coming out on the electronic intifada. So every time that the pro-Israeli lobby seeks to squash information that might be critical of it, it almost proves the point of how powerful it is. It's not only the Republicans and so on, but it's the Democratic Party establishment, and notably the silence of other allegedly progressive members of Congress on this issue. I would say that you could criticize what she said as, at one level, simplistic, because I don't think that it's just simply money that's flowing on Capitol Hill. There are geostrategic reasons, long-term geostrategic reasons for the United States backing Israel as it does. Israel, in the 1960s, when AIPAC was just beginning as a project of the American Zionist Council, Israel crushed, effectively, Arab nationalism and totally deformed the region so that you had autocratic regimes. That was very functional. And, you know, it gets into what ties the U.S. and Israel ultimately. Their worst aspect is settler colonialism. That is ultimately more responsible, and that ultimately creates a far more radical position than just simply saying it's just the Benjamins.
Right. I think a lot of people are questioning, you know, how it's anti-Semitic at all to call a lobby group, you know, saying that they spend money on Congress. Others say it's anti-Semitic to equate the group with the Jewish people as a whole. So who is right here? Is that fair?
I don't think that she did that at all.
Right.
If anything, it's the pro-Israeli forces that attempt to equate the positions of AIPAC with all Jews generally. You have to look at the diversity of the Jewish community. There are Orthodox Jews who, for religious reasons, don't support the state of Israel. There are progressive Jews based on its actions as an aggressive state and its oppression of the Palestinians and so on. Don't support Israel. So, you know, I think that equating the positions of AIPAC or any position or any government of Israel, I think that's stereotyping, and that's exercised by the pro-Israeli side.
I mean, we've seen even calls, particularly from Republicans, obviously, for Representative Omar to be removed from the Foreign Affairs Committee. Do you think there's another agenda at play here? I mean, what's the bigger picture?
The bigger picture is to silence any serious critique of the U.S.-Israeli collusion in terms of the region, in terms of Israel's constant aggressiveness in the region, and anybody even from what I regard as a somewhat simplistic point of view, who questions it is to immediately be squashed, whereas it should, you know, raise all kinds of other questions.
To silence the people who are speaking. To
silence her, to make her apologize, to make her grovel, to intimidate other people from speaking up on this issue. You know, if you really want to see where power is that needs to be questioned, look at what power, you know, attacks people the most when it is questioned.
And lately, though, we've across the pond here, I know it's not our politics here, but similar allegations have been leveled against the Labour leader, Jeremy Corbyn, over in the UK. Do you see any parallels here? Is this a global issue that we're looking at?
In some respect. I mean, it's a long-term thing by AIPAC and others to brand the new anti-Semitism as not coming from the right, traditional racists, from the KKK, from so on, but to claim that the new anti-Semitism is coming from the left. This has been decades in the work from the circles around AIPAC, and I think that we see it coming more into play as progressive forces attempt to assert themselves, like Corbyn has to a large extent, like some people are beginning to do in the United States, and I think need to do a great deal more of if we're serious about scrutinizing U.S. policy.
All right, and real quickly, as the younger generation has moved into Congress, we've seen like AOC and Representative Omar. These are younger people. Is this a new guard in the way they're going to deal with Palestine versus Israel?
Well, I don't know that it's much of a guard yet. It's very few people, and that they
seems like they're learning the hard way.
Yeah, and I don't think that they've looked at this. I think we should be critical and question everybody here. I don't think that they've really examined the power structure that they're up against. This is a long-term endemic thing that is ultimately rooted in the imperial prerogatives of the United States, of Israel, of other countries, of traditional European colonial powers, and needs to be treated as such.
Yeah, certainly they've got a lot to learn of how democracy, as it were, is done on Capitol Hill. Thank you so much for sharing your insights with us today, Sam Husseini.
Thank you.
Hey YouTube, thanks for checking out our channel. We hope you enjoyed the video. We have tons of content for you just like this. For more of RT America's one-of-a-kind news and analysis, be sure to subscribe and never stop questioning more.